Welcome to Whispers of Azura, where I recount the tale of a band of adventurers who may or may not be in way over their heads. This is a StoryTime series based on the D&D campaign I run for my friends, bringing their choices, triumphs, and missteps to life. But before we dive into their exploits, let's set the stage. This session is just the beginning, a glimpse into the world they call home and the chaos that awaits them. The players find themselves in Azura, a vast continent divided between the north and south. The north is largely dominated by humans, while the south is ruled primarily by non-human races, each with their own cultures, kingdoms, and conflicts. To the west, the continent meets the endless expanse of the Azure Sea, while the east borders Neptune's realm, a mysterious and uncharted oceanic domain. But perhaps the most formidable region of all is the Dragon Isles, a chain of massive islands to the northeast, ruled, unsurprisingly, by dragons. Their presence alone makes the Isles a place of legend, danger, and untold power. Now let's get a summary of recent history that has shaped the current world. Let's start with the rise of the True Knight Order. The origins of the True Knight Order began with a small band of adventurers who, through trial and hardship, forged a reputation that would echo through history. In their early years, they answered the call of those in need, from rescuing trapped miners in Ironcliff to dismantling the infamous Crimson Bandits in the Whispering Woods. These victories, though hard won, were just the beginning. As their deeds spread, they became more than just wandering heroes. They became symbols of hope. Their defining moment came during the defense of Silver Meadow, when a warband of orcs and ogres threatened to raze the peaceful village to the ground. Outnumbered but undeterred, the group stood firm. The Apostle of Celestial's divine power and the Lightbringer's protective spells shielded the villagers, while the Dragon's Blade led an inspiring counteroffensive. The Spirit Shield, ever the mighty warrior, held the front line, taking on the Orc chieftain in single combat. Their victory solidified their place as protectors of the weak, and their legend only grew. It was after this battle that they saw a shift, not just in their reputation, but in their purpose. People began to seek them out, not just for aid, but for guidance. Realizing that their influence could be greater than the sum of their individual actions, they came together to form the True Knight Order in Blackthorn. Under the divine blessing of the Apostle of Celestials, they established a code of honor, vowing to train and guide future warriors in the ways of justice, protection, and self-sacrifice. The Lightbringer's teachings became the foundation of the Order's healing arts, while the Arcane Eye lent his arcane expertise to strengthen their defenses. Their first great test, as an official order, came with the First Crusade, when a dark cult dedicated to Vecna sought to plunge the land into shadow. The True Knight Order, now numbering many, took up arms against the cultists. The Dragon's Blade, a seasoned tactician by this point, led the knights in battle, cutting through enemy ranks with precision. The Arcane Eye's mastery of magic countered the cult's dark sorcery, while the Apostle of the Celestials called upon divine forces to smite their foes. In the end, the Order emerged victorious, eradicating the cult's influence and proving their worth to the world. Their legend would reach its pinnacle during the Tarrasque's Wrath, when the ancient beast awoke and threatened to annihilate Blackthorn. Even with all their strength, the battle was dire. The Spirit Shield and Dragon's Blade led the charge, standing against the beast's unrelenting destruction. In a moment of ultimate sacrifice, the Apostle of the Celestials and the Lightbringer gave their lives to protect the city, their magic forming a barrier that held long enough for the final blow to be struck. Though the Tarrasque was sealed rather than slain, their victory was bittersweet. Following this loss, the surviving founders chose different paths. The Spirit Shield returned to his homeland, his battles finally at an end. The Arcane Eye became the King's Court Mage, using his wisdom to guide Blackthorn's future. The Dragon's Blade, now more a leader than a warrior, dedicated himself to training the next generation within the True Knights. Though the original group had disbanded, their ideals lived on. The True Knight Order continued to grow, not just as an institution, but as a symbol. Knights who bore their crest did so with honor, carrying forth the legacy of those who had built it from the ground up. And so, the legend of the True Knights, born from a simple group of adventurers, endured, forever woven into the fabric of Azura's history. When the king of Blackthorn passed away, there was initially little concern, as the eldest son, Prince Alaric Severin, was widely expected to take the throne. However, before he could ascend, Alaric was assassinated, and suspicion quickly fell on his brothers. Chaos erupted across the kingdom as factions formed, each vying for power. Yet, the youngest son, Prince Malik Severin, seemed to have little hope of gaining support. But things took a turn when the Arcane Eye, who had been overseeing the kingdom in the king's stead, recognized Malik as the only remaining heir who had not tarnished the Severin name. After discussions with the Dragon's Blade, it was decided that Malik should take the throne. The Arcane Eye proposed a solution: a brutal battle royale to the death, 1 month from now, where the remaining princes would fight to claim the crown. This would allow the brothers to eliminate one another and settle the matter once and for all. During the month leading up to the event, the Dragon's Blade and the Arcane Eye secretly trained Malik, turning him into a skilled Eldritch Knight. When the day of the battle arrived, the two older princes immediately turned their attention to each other, eager to eliminate their competition. However, Malik, having been trained in secret, used this opportunity to catch them off guard, swiftly defeating and killing both of his brothers. With their deaths, Malik ascended to the throne, taking his place as the new king of Blackthorn. The Continental War. Shortly after Malik's coronation, Aqua Ridge united factions of those who opposed the treatment of demi-races by humans. These groups, feeling marginalized and oppressed, sought to challenge Blackthorn's rule, calling for the removal of humans from the positions of power. This growing unrest further fueled the tensions between the two nations, setting the stage for the Continental War. The Continental War was a brutal and defining conflict that shaped the future of the region. It began with a fierce battle at the River Sunder, where King Malik of Blackthorn successfully defended the northern side against an ambitious crossing by Aqua Ridge, securing a strategic victory and halting the southern advance. As the war dragged on, Aqua Ridge shifted their focus to Stormwatch Keep, a critical fortress guarding Blackthorn's western border. Despite being outnumbered, the defenders, under King Malik's command, held out through tactical ingenuity, eventually relieving the keep and halting Aqua Ridge's momentum. One of the war's most brutal engagements occurred on the Verdant Fields, where the Arcane Eye, commanding Blackthorn's forces, clashed with the Southern Army, led by the powerful druid Nalia Oakstride. Despite the Arcane Eye's best efforts, Nalia's druidic mastery overwhelmed Blackthorn, forcing a retreat and marking a key victory for the South. The final turning point came with the Duel of Champions, a last-ditch effort to end the war. Nalia, representing Aqua Ridge, was set to face the Arcane Eye in single combat. However, knowing he was the weaker of the two, the Arcane Eye sought out his old comrade, the Dragon's Blade, and convinced him to take his place. Initially reluctant due to his own inner conflicts, the Dragon's Blade ultimately agreed, determined to aid the Arcane Eye. The battle that followed became the stuff of legend. Nalia, unleashing the full extent of her power, transformed into a massive red dragon, and later a towering mammoth. Yet, the Dragon's Blade refused to falter. In a moment of perfect timing, he struck a decisive blow, slaying Nalia and bringing the war to an end. The aftermath left Blackthorn victorious, but at a great cost. The Dragon's Blade, disillusioned by the war and the shame surrounding its bloody conclusion, vanished into the northern wilds, becoming a legend. Though Blackthorn had emerged triumphant, the scars of war remained, and the continent was left struggling to heal from the devastating conflict. 22 years have passed since the war, a time of uneasy peace. But as history shows, peace never lasts long. The world is once again in need of heroes. Will they rise to the challenge, save the world, or will they fail to protect it, and perhaps even bring about its destruction? Only time will tell. I hope to see you all again in Session 1.